Dictation 23, 100 words per minute. In the case of cement, the industrialists came forward with the proposal that they want to increase the price. The government did not tell them to stick to the present prices, which have been there only for about 2 years. They say that for the next year they will decontrol. They have told the industry, we will wash our hands off and you can increase the prices. Similar appears to be the case with the automobile industry. The automobile industry in this country has become famous for supplying the people with an ever-deteriorating quality of cars by ever-increasing prices. There also, the government has not put its foot down firmly but is examining the proposal. Of course, the chairman has promised a discussion on this issue, and I will not take more time on this just now, but I feel that the policy of progressive decontrol which the government seems to follow is a misdirected and misguided one. It will only lead to an increase in the cost of living and increase in the price of everything. Prices must be stabilized if they cannot be brought down by sanctioning the price increase or by allowing the industry to increase prices. Prices will neither be stabilized nor will they be brought down. While this is the general picture of this awful tragedy, let us have a look at the specific areas of malignancy. Sir, literacy in our country is quite limited. Only about 25% of our population are supposed to be literate. It is therefore possible to think that at least the educated people will have avenues of employment, that a few of them who can read and write, who can teach or do such jobs will have a premium for their work. But what is the position? The position is that actually the number of educated unemployed has been rising year by year. According to the statistics supplied by the Ministry of Labour and Employment in their report, the educated unemployed on the live register rose from 1 lakh to 13 lakhs. Of these, 8 lakhs were matriculates, 3 lakhs were undergraduates, and 2 lakhs were graduates and postgraduates. We often hear of the technological revolution taking place in the country, that the need for engineers, technicians, and all these people is there, that we are on the threshold of the take-off period. The Planning Commission, in its final draft report, has recognized the importance of this problem and has put a paragraph about the need for doing something on the subject of technical and adult education. They are also helping them through national social service programs. We may be able to create literacy brigades and thereby involve the student community also in this problem and of illiteracy. There are a number of other schemes which are also on the anvil. But quite honestly, I am not satisfied with the efforts that my government is making to deal with the problem. Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, it appears as if self-sufficiency in food and green revolution is working as per reports by the government from time to time. If we see the increase as per the reports, supplied by the government of cereals, we find that in 1959 it was 198, and by the end of March this year it is 209. Respect of rice rose from 194 to 204, and in respect of wheat achieved 218 from 209. So I'd request the House to consider how far we have progressed towards self-sufficiency. Anyway, we are glad that we have stopped importing food grains. For the last 25 years, we were simply importing food grains, and Pakistan was importing arms. The result was known to the entire country recently. I need not repeat it. We are also proud that we have produced scientists in agricultural field, in agricultural engineering, and in different subjects pertaining to agriculture. They are very talented research scientists, but it appears that they are all fighting for existence. Their activities are limited in the research centers only. What about the real backbone of agriculture in rural areas? We have not been able to distribute them in rural areas. On the 20th December, at the time of Bihar appropriation, I had given certain suggestions about the location of agricultural colleges in our country. I believe not a single agricultural college is situated in rural areas. It remains in the sophisticated area. So much so, sometimes the students go on strike for shower bath and stainless steel utensils in their hostels. We have to go to the rural areas and establish some colleges where these scientists will go and work for research. They could educate the students, educate the farmers' sons who would go and till their fathers' lands. We must have some provision in the Constitution or some rules somewhere for implementing such work so that the agriculturists and agricultural graduates will go to villages and work in their fathers' lands and develop their own land, as well as they will work as advisors to their poor village farmers. They can be teachers in schools. We have got the research work and education at the higher stage. We have up till now to implement nothing substantial at the secondary level, and we have totally forgotten the basic education which came out of the mind of the father of the nation. It is because the bureaucratic machinery has totally ignored that type of education for our new generation. The result is that there is frustration in the minds of highly educated agricultural scientists especially, and they have been fighting among themselves for existence. I believe, as has already been told by some of my colleagues, that there may be frustration again, and after these educated agriculturists go to their villages, they will frustrate
अगर आपको हमारा डिक्टेशन अच्छा लगता है, पसंद आता है, तो आप हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें, जिससे कि आने वाला नोटिफिकेशन सबसे पहले आपको मिल सके।